Thursday. Welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us on this afternoon as we lead into the divisional round of football. That is right. We are approaching just a little bit of about 50 hours away from the divisional round between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs. So much so that Fulton Chiefs, they're winning by double figures. Yes, I understand.
I'd calm down with that take there, bud, but okay.
I said that the Chargers were going to win by double figures, but that was pre Mike Williams being put on the shelf.
No. I just want to point this out that when we were making final decisions on Friday, only one of the two members of this show picked the Jacksonville Jaguars to win that game.
I picked the Jaguars to cover after I knew that Mike Williams was not playing.
Only one of the two members of this show picked the Jaguars to win.
That's true. Also,
just saying.
Also, I think you're putting too much confidence in a Jags team. This Chiefs team is not the Chargers. This team is a lot different. I'm feeling good about this Saturday, 3:30 kickoff coming from Arrowhead.
And I'm just saying Trevor Lawrence is 37-0 on Saturdays.
All right, I'll take Chiefs. You got Jags.
I'm not taking the Jags. I'm just saying it will be.
All right.
I think it'll be about a 7-point game. That's all I'm saying.
Not happening. Chiefs taking care of business.
Right.
We're going to talk plenty of Jags coming up. Adam Stites covers the Jaguars for Jags Wire for USA Today. We will get to that. Man, fans are nuts. They're just nuts. We'll get to the audio clip of Trevor Lawrence on how loud the stadium's going to be. But man, headlines are deceiving. We'll get to that. We're going to talk about this is an offensive football league. Look at the teams who are left. We'll discuss that. We'll talk a little quarterback play. Everyone loves the list today. Foods that you can eat at any point in time during the day. 6 in the morning, noon, 5, 8, 11, 2 in the morning, doesn't matter. When and what are the best foods that you can eat at any point in time in the day? We'll get to that. We'll hear from Andy Reid. He's going to speak to the media at 1. We'll hear from a couple Chiefs players as well. We got a lot to get to on this Thursday edition, which is like a Friday for the Chiefs as they're playing on Saturday. That game will be heard on the big 94.5 Country, 2 o'clock pregame coverage, 3:30 kickoff is when Fulton thinks the Chiefs will win by 7 or less. You got the Chiefs winning, though, right?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. You're just waffling.
It will be a cold, dark day in the abyss when I don't pick the Chiefs to win a football game.
I mean, that's not true. I didn't pick the Chiefs to beat the Bills this year. I said the Bills are going to beat the Chiefs.
I know, but
I don't think it's a dark day. I think it's just...
It's for me personally.
I mean, no team is going to go 17-0 ever.
Yeah, that's okay.
It'll never happen. Ever. Book it.
But one day I'm going to pick it and I'll be right.
No, it'll never happen.
One day I'll pick it and I'll be right.
What has a better chance of happening? A 300-win pitcher from here on out or a 17-win season?
17-win season. An undefeated season.
No, that will never happen.
A 300-win pitcher's never happening again.
What's more likely to happen? You think a team going... There's been one team ever to do it, and that was a 14-game season.
Yeah.
Patriots came close.
Yeah. That's what cheated to get that close.
You really do think... You think...
In this example, I'm going with the potential undefeated season because I truly believe there's never going to be a 300-win pitcher again. Guys don't even get to 20 wins in a season anymore.
Does Verlander got 56 wins left in it?
No. Because guys don't go far enough. His fastest track to that would be 2 25-win seasons. I don't think he's got 2 25s in him.
His last 2 full seasons, he won 21 games and 18 games.
Yeah.
Exactly. 3 more of those.
Just got 3 more in him, though.
He literally was
He's
the
old.
best. He literally just last year was the best pitcher in baseball.
I understand that, and I agree.
At 39 years old, coming off of Tommy John.
And this year he could go kaput.
4 and had a 1.75 ERA. He was insane.
He was, and it was insane. He could also go kaputs this year.
I don't think anybody's going 17-0 and then winning and then running the rack.
No one's winning 300 games anymore.
No one's going to go 20-0.
No one's winning 300 games.
Better opportunity, though.
No.
300.
No, because the way the game is played has changed. Guys don't get chances for wins as much anymore. We no longer live in the days where a guy's throwing out there 30 times with 30 decisions.
In the NFL nowadays, nobody's going to go 20-0.
I'm not saying either. I'm not saying that both are incredibly unfeasible. One is a 0.000% chance of ever happening.
Yeah.
One is a 0.00001% chance.
Which is 300 wins.
No, which is the undefeated season.
You're ridiculous. We got a lot to get to. Let us know. What would you sign up with? The Big O Tires text line. 300 games will never happen, at least in our lifetime.
Thank you.
False. I can't wait till Justin Verlander does it.
He's not going to win 300 games.
Hit us up on our Big O Tires text line. 12/13, January 19th. Mark it. Fulton will eat his hat. I can't wait in maybe 30 years, when I'm 68 years old and who knows where I'm going to be at. And someone's going to win 300 games and I'm going to find you. I don't know where you're going to be at. No clue. I'm going to find you and I'm going to make you barbecue a hat and you're going to put barbecue sauce on it. I'm going to make you eat it at 68 years old. Use it.
Neither are going to happen.
Big O. But more likely.
It's the undefeated team.
Ridiculous. No undefeated team. Exactly. What about someone batting 400 for a season? No, I mean, that hasn't happened since what, Ted Williams?
Yeah, Ted.
That doesn't count. That's so far-fetched.
God,
there have been 300
something.
winners here recently. There really have been. So that's why that's the possibility. Anyways, let's get to some football talk.
Let's somehow get back on track.
But we need to throw out a Twitter poll. See if that we can get that. But Chiefs, Jags. James Palmer covers basically the Chiefs and the Broncos for the NFL Network. That's all he covers, essentially. Which is great, which is good and bad. One, the Broncos, because they're a train wreck, which is good, but also bad. And it's great because you get to cover the best team in the NFL, too, with the Chiefs. This is what he had to say about meeting with Willie Gay after practice yesterday. Here's what James Palmer had to say.
And I was just talking to middle linebacker Willie Gay Jr. in the locker room a few minutes ago, and he said to me, we need to stop number one and put this game on Trevor Lawrence's shoulders. If that doesn't show you the way this defense is focused on Travis Etienne, I don't know what does. They know he is so capable of running the football and catching the football and being that weapon specifically outside of the tackles. Gay told me, you look at his build, you look at the space that's out there, he wants to go to the outside, and that's where he has to make plays in space. And as safety Justin Reid told me as well today, that's where the corners and the safeties are going to have to be able to tackle out in space. Now, middle linebacker Nick Bolton, second in the NFL in tackles this season. Andy Reid believes he might be the best tackler in all of football. It's going to fall on him as well outside of the tackle box. And his position coach, Brendan Daly, he spent time in New England. He was with Dante Hightower. He was with Gerard Mayo there. He said he's very similar to those two players, Andrew, in terms of his football IQ and understanding all of what the Jaguars are going to try to do out in space to help this defense, but also he might be the best tackler he's ever coached. That's a pretty good company Brendan Daly's coached in New England and here in Kansas City. Nick Bolton and company need to make sure they wrap up Travis Etienne in space.
You buying that it's Etienne? Is that Is that the guy? If they slow down Etienne, the Jags are bupkis. They are no longer a factor. Christian Kirk, Trevor Lawrence, does not matter. It is all about Travis Etienne.
I don't know if I'd go and say that it, completely unravels and destroys everything the Jaguars will try and do offensively. But I think there's some merit to it because it makes Trevor Lawrence's life easier and opens up more things that Doug Peterson wants to do if Travis Etienne's getting going. Like, the Jags are at a fuller piece of their potential when they can really run the football. They can win if it's all on Trevor Lawrence's shoulders. But as we've also seen, and we saw just on Saturday night, Trevor Lawrence is susceptible to making some mistakes and not performing flawlessly, which means the more things you put on his plate, the more you force him to do, the higher chance becomes that he makes one of those mistakes that benefit you defensively. So I don't think it's the be-all, end-all. I think the be-all, end-all is honestly, truly just keeping things in front and tackling. Because also what started hurting the Chargers there was they just stopped being able to tackle anyone, which led the Jags to get a lot of yards after contact opportunities. But I do think it is important. You just can't let Etienne run wild and free. Because if you let him run wild and free, then Lawrence has to do less. And if Lawrence has to do less, it means Doug Peterson can be also a bit more creative with his concepts, and they limit the percentage chance that Lawrence will try to do too much, which will lead to an interception or a bad play.
What if he's running footloose and fancy free? Nothing. I agree with him. I think he's 1,000% correct. You can't be 1,000%, but
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it is Travis Etienne. If you can somehow shut him down, good luck trying to win a game with Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, and who's the other guy?
Zay Jones is out there.
The Joneses. That ain't gonna matter. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. Let's Evan Ingram, their sweet tight end. No, I think it is Travis Etienne. I think if you can slow down Travis Etienne in this game, the Kansas City Chiefs are even in a better spot. He's low-key a better running back than what people think. He's
very good.
A lot faster than what people think.
Very quick.
So I actually am on board with that game plan. The game plan, stop number one. Force Trevor Lawrence to throw it as many times as he can. The more Trevor Lawrence throws it, the better that is for the Kansas City Chiefs, in my view of how this Jacksonville Jaguars offense operates. And that is high praise when you heard James Palmer at the end. Nick Bolton, one of the best tacklers that Brendan Daly has been around.
He's really good. Also worth noting, in the first matchup, Etienne ran for 45 yards and 11 carries.
Perfect.
Still averaged 4 yards a pop.
But they got up 20-0, and you took him out of the game. You want to know a way to take him out of the game? Get up 20-0, and it's not going to be a factor.
That's true.
Etienne, had over 100 yards against the Chargers. He's played the back half of the year. Travis Etienne has really been one of the better running backs in the AFC. Yeah. And if you look at it, when he plays well, when he runs the ball well, their offense is much more dynamic.
Yep.
When he is not a factor, the offense stinks.
He is a piece to unlocking what that offense can do. I
know he was really good against the Cowboys because I remember watching that game. So I agree with Willie Gay, with Brendan Daly. And if that's the game plan for the Kansas City Chiefs coming up Saturday, stop number one, don't let him get going, then you bet. Let's do this thing out of the backfield as well. Because he's a decent receiver out of the backfield. Don't let him get loose, because if he gets loose, he's gone. Chiefs.
Yeah, he has home run speed.
Yeah. So I think I like the game plan for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that's a good situation to be in. I really, really do.
No, I think so as well. And it's one of the things to where make the Jacksonville Jaguars one-dimensional is important. And then because of their lack of true terrifying receiver talent, if you're going to make them do anything, make them throw. Tell McDuffie, tell Watson, tell Williams, tell Snead, all right, you guys get one-on-one with them all day today. We trust you. Everyone else, load the box.
By the way, from the Big O Tires text line, last 300-game winners, Randy Johnson, Tom Glavine, and Greg Maddux.
Yeah.
When was the last undefeated team? 1972.
Fair.
It's 17 games now. You have to win 20 games. The greatest team that we have ever seen couldn't even do it. That's the 07 Patriots. Yeah, 07 Patriots.
You're also not getting a 300-game winner. If you want to have this argument between things that'll actually happen, sure. But we're talking about two things that both probably will never happen.
They probably won't. But the better odds are a 300
It's an undefeated season.
There are more pitchers out there than NFL teams.
The way I'm trying not to have an aneurysm.
I don't know why you're
There is no chance in hell a 300-game winner ever happens again. Not a singular chance.
I've just given you more odds. Like, there have been 3 people in this millennium that have done it. 1972.
Because they also all came from a different generation of when the game was played. You know, football being different because there's now 17 years to go in 20 games. Yes, that's very true. You want to also change for baseball? Pitchers barely go 6 innings anymore. No one gets wins.
Nobody has done it except for one team, and that was a 14-game season. I will die on this hill.
I know you will.
I will die on this hill.
I know you will.
Coming up next, Guten Tag, Germany. We will get to that coming up here. Fulton.
No.
Guten Tag, Deutschland.
Is this what I have to look forward to?
Chiefs playing in Germany next year. If it worked out, I would go to this game. Like, this would be the one time that I would tell you, go over to Germany, watch the Chiefs play in Germany, go have warm beer, because friends of mine who've been over to Germany say that their beer that's warm it's one of the best things that they've ever drank that's a liquid. Like, it's that good.
No, I got a friend of mine who we've always talked about going to Germany to visit, and this would be a perfect excuse.
So it is going to happen. The Chiefs and the Patriots are going to be playing in Germany, not going to be playing each other. But the teams who are going to be playing overseas, the Bills are going to be playing at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The Tennessee
I apologize to everyone for Jake's accents.
The Tennessee Titans are also going to be playing for the Tottenham Hotspurs. Chiefs and Patriots in Germany. And then the Jaguars are going to be playing at Wembley. So here's my question. We knew this was going to happen when the Bucks got there this year.
Yeah, we knew 100%
Yeah,
2023.
Yeah. Who do they play?
That's the question.
Who do they play? It's a home game because they've got 9 home games.
Yeah,
So
it'll burn one of those.
It's either going to be the Eagles, Bengals, Lions, Bears, Dolphins, Bills, Raiders, Chargers, or Broncos. Here's who I don't think it's going to be. It's not going to be the Bills. It's not going to be the Bengals. And I don't think it's going to be the Eagles. I doubt it's Denver. I don't think it's the Chargers. I think it will either be the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Bears, or the Lions. That's who I think it will be. They're not going to put the Broncos over there. They're not going to put the Chargers. Bills, Chiefs can't be over there. Chiefs, Bengals can't be over there. I think the Eagles, same way. So that's why I think it's the Lions, Bears, Dolphins, or Raiders. And if I had to bet my money, like if I had to pick one of them, I think it'll be the Lions.
I'm kind of with you.
I think it's going to be the Chiefs versus the Lions in Deutschland.
I think Lions or Bears is my thought.
Oh, my.
Nice. That's where I lean.
I think that's great. I think it's going to be awesome.
Well, Jake, we got some time to learn German. That entire week of shows for the German game, we just got to do it all in German.
Yes, exactly. Coming up next, we're going to talk all things Jags with Adam Stites, covers the Jags here on Mic'd Up. Comments, 580 won't fund your trip to Germany. Unfortunately, I'm going to go with the no. I will put in a request.
We're going to listen. We're going to ask. We're going to make them tell us no.
Hold on a second. There's no we. If there's any chance, there's probably one of us that's going to get to go.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Unfortunately,
rock, paper, scissors.
It ain't you.
No, rock, paper, scissors. We do this. We do this in a way. We do this in a game of wits. I need a chance here.
As Brendan said so about a couple years ago. Executive privilege. Executive privilege.
Yeah, that's what that is. That I've accepted that as a fact.
I'll put it out there. Would the boss actually give me an answer or retort with a sarcastic comment or just laugh?
I think it's B or C. Because he knows that we know it ain't happening.
What if we get Big Corp to pay for it? The big comp.
I mean, at that point,
they got the money.
Yeah,
they
got the money. Big Corp can do it.
We'll get into more Chiefs coming up in the 2:00 hour. We're going to hear from head coach Andy Reid, a couple players as they gear up for the game coming up on Saturday. 2:00 pregame coverage on our sister station, the Big 94.5 Country. 3:30 kickoff, Chiefs versus Jags. And to talk all things Jaguars, we bring in Adam Stites. He covers the Jaguars for the Jaguars Wire for USA Today. Adam, thank you for taking the time and talking some Jaguars with us. Are Jags fans still living on a high for what occurred against the Chargers in the wild card round?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a pretty wild ride. I mean, even before that, came down to a fumble recovery touchdown to win the AFC South. There was a pick six in overtime against the Cowboys. I mean, the whole season has just kind of been a miracle run. So, yeah, I think they've been living on a high since the beginning of December.
Is it really true? Like, this is house money. I mean, if they lose, let's say the Chiefs beat the Jags, is that like a devastating loss, or is this truly, hey, you know what? I just went to the casino, got 10 grand. I'm going to put, $1,000 on black, and I don't really care what happens. I'm going to come away a winner.
Yeah, I mean, I think absolutely. The Jaguars had the number one pick in the draft 2 years in a row, and then now they're the AFC South champion. They won a playoff game. No team has ever turned that around that fast. Got Calvin Ridley coming in next year. Got all kinds of draft picks to work with. So I think that the Jaguars are feeling supremely confident about their future. They've got a quarterback they feel really great about in Trevor Lawrence. So if this goes any further, then the miracle season continues, and everybody's going to be continuing to ride this really fun roller coaster. But if it ends, then I think optimism is going to be absolutely sky high heading into next year. So everybody's feeling good, really, either way.
As a Jaguars person who covers the Jaguars, when you look at the Chiefs, is it more important for the Jaguars defense to play well and try to slow down the Chiefs as best as you can? Or is it simply, yeah, we got to score. We have to score. This is all about the offense. Doesn't really matter what the defense does. They can give up 30. Who cares? Our offense has to be the team that plays its best game.
Yeah, I would lean towards the offensive side. I think obviously the defense is going to have to try and do something, but the idea of stopping the Chiefs altogether is just kind of a lost cause. You're not going to hold them to 10 points. So it's going to come down to the offense being able to keep up and keep it a game. First time around when they met in November, Jaguars punted on 6 of their first 7 drives, and then the other one was a missed field goal. Fell into a 20-0 hole, and it just you can't catch up against a team like the Chiefs if you fall that far behind. There's not going to be another 27-point comeback this weekend. So I think it's going to be on the offense to really set the tone early, keep themselves in it, and then you just kind of hope that the breaks go your way. But the offense can't have another slow start like it had in those 2 games.
We're talking with Adam Stites, covers the Jaguars for the Jaguars Wire for USA Today. All right, the comeback. Was it simply just Trevor Lawrence got in the zone? And I have seen, a couple, big name analysts on social media that say if there's a quarterback, when he gets in the zone, he's one of the best in the NFL, and it's Trevor Lawrence. Do you agree with that? And if he gets on a hot stretch, that was the difference in the game against the Chargers. It wasn't the defense. It was just Trevor Lawrence got in that proverbial zone.
Yeah, I think that's the case. The Chargers, even at the beginning, it's not like they were really doing anything that was. They were playing some really good defense, but it's not like their offense was driving up and down the field. The Jaguars just kept kind of affording them these really gifted opportunities that just an interception would set up the Chargers offense in the red zone. So once the Jaguars started rolling, it was the Chargers didn't have a turnover in that game. The whole comeback was just that the defense would get a stop, and then the Jaguars would drive the field, and Trevor Lawrence was just kind of unstoppable. He was completing passes all up and down the field. I mean, with no incompletions for a huge stretch. I mean, he finished with over 80% of his passes in the second half were completed. So, yeah, that's something we've seen at times throughout the season, where when he just turns it on, there's just no stopping him. He can put it wherever he needs to put it, and he navigates the pocket really well. He's great at throwing on the move. There's just not a whole lot you can do. Just getting him to do that consistently has been the challenge.
I said yesterday that I don't think, I am trying not to be disrespectful to the Jags. I don't consider the Jags to have a bunch of dudes on the team. They didn't have an all-pro guy on their team, either first or second team, one of, 6 teams that didn't have an all-pro guy. I think Travis Etienne is a very good running back, but I would not put him in the dude category. Same thing on the defensive side. Am I being too harsh on the Jags when it comes to that?
No, I think you're dead on actually. I think they have a lot of guys with potential who are headed that direction. I think Etienne's a good example. Trevor Lawrence is a good example. Those are guys that you would assume are have a Pro Bowl in their future. On the defensive side, I think Tyson Campbell is a very good young corner who's on the rise, but he's another guy who's still just 23 and still just figuring it out. So they're not there yet, but they have a lot. They don't have a whole lot of huge weak links. I think is probably a big part of why they've had a good season this year. Every position they have guys that are good enough to win. And but yeah, like you said, I don't think they have any real dudes that are the focal point that the Chiefs really just have to take away this weekend. There's just a lot of guys that hopefully continue to develop for the Jaguars. That's kind of where they see it. It's just we have a lot of pieces in place.
In the matchup, what is the biggest concern for Jags and Jags fans? Patrick Mahomes threw it all over the Jags in the game in the regular season. Is it simply that? Is it the pass defense? Is it the secondary? Or do we need to look at a different spot? Is it O-line play? They got to protect Trevor Lawrence. Is it Etienne? He has to have a good game running. How do you view it?
Well, I think part of the reason why Patrick Mahomes was able to just pick them apart last time was the pass rush was just kind of non-existent. I mean, there was no sacks on the day. The Jaguars went through a stretch where it was about an eight game stretch where nobody was getting any sacks. Josh Allen, their number one pass rusher, went 8 straight games without a sack, and only had 4 quarterback hits over that stretch. And that game was part of that stretch. He's now had 5 sacks in the last 6 games. Pass rush has been looking better. Yeah, we'll see if that carries into the matchup. I don't know if their pass rush struggles were due to that. They were just kind of in a slump, or if there was a matchup issue and the Chiefs were just able to shut them down. But that's what I'm looking for. I don't think you can let Patrick Mahomes just sit there and throw the ball around the yard, because he can put it wherever he needs to put it and pick you apart if you give him enough time.
Adam Stites, managing editor for the Jaguars Wire for USA Today. We heard from James Palmer, covers a lot of the Chiefs and Broncos for the NFL Network, and it says the Chiefs are zeroed in on Travis Etienne. He's the guy that they think starts it all. Do you agree with that?
I was a little surprised by that. I think Etienne has had his moments where he really he's kind of a boom or bust guy, but he's been able to take away before. It's not. He's had games where he's just kind of disappeared, and the Jaguars have always been a pass first kind of to set up the run team as opposed to the opposite way around. So that surprises me a little bit. I think I would have expected the Jaguars to come out, trying to just do ball control, passing. I think that's what they've done a lot this season, is a lot of intermediate and shallow passing to move the chains, and they kind of sprinkle in a run every once in a while when the defense is spread out. So I think if Etienne runs wild, it's bad for the Chiefs, but he would not be my first priority if I was the Chiefs.
When it comes to this season as a whole, there was a lot of talk about Christian Kirk and how, wow, the Jags overpaid for Christian Kirk. How would you say his first year went, considering how much they paid Christian Kirk?
I would say a rousing success. He'd never had a 1,000-yard season before, and that was kind of part of the concern. But he finishes with 1,100 yards, finishes with a career high in touchdowns. I think it was everything they could have hoped for. I don't know if that absolves the price tag. The price tag was probably they were kind of bidding against themselves, but I think he gave you the production that you would expect of a player that's making that much. So, in hindsight, it looks like a fantastic addition. And I think the addition of Calvin Ridley on the outside next year is only going to help him, find good matchups in the middle of the field.
All righty. Give me your score prediction and a specific score, high scoring, low scoring. What do you got?
I think we see high scoring. The first time around was 27-17. I thought the Jaguars played some uncharacteristically bad offense early on before they kind of found a rhythm late, and the Chiefs probably could have really stepped on the gas and scored a lot more than 27 if they had to. So I think we see a lot more scoring this time. I don't know that the Jaguars can keep up though, so I'm going to say 35-27 or so, Chiefs.
Alrighty, and my last two for the road, just two quick questions I have for you. Do you have a favorite Urban Meyer story from that absolute debacle that was there? First of all, how come NFL franchises couldn't see that coming? Like, how did Shad Khan, everyone, you, me, the door, my water right here could have told you that was going to be a disaster, but yet Shad Khan couldn't. But do you have a favorite story that maybe we haven't heard about Urban Meyer at Jacksonville?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which player it was. He kept calling a player on the team the wrong name. I'm losing which player it was, but he kept calling him the wrong name, and the media would correct him every time he would say it in a press conference. But there was that also. He seemed like he didn't know who Aaron Donald was from the Rams, so he just kind of there was a lot of moments where he didn't really seem to have a grasp on who was important in the NFL.
That's amazing. Alrighty, lastly, I don't know this answer. Maybe you can enlighten me. Where did the Duval chant originate from? I know why. I understand the Duval aspect, but when did that become the rallying cry?
Yeah, that's been I think there was a Jaguars kind of original. Back in the 96 days when they first made that AFC championship run, it was kind of bouncing around. I think when it really took another level, there was a linebacker, Mike Peterson. He played in Jacksonville for a while, then in Atlanta. And I think he really turned it into the whole crowd getting into it and really got the whole defense kind of, they used to say, welcome to Duval, prepare to be hit. That was the big the big rallying cry they centered around. So yeah, it just kind of evolved took on a life of its own, and it's been now decades of it.
And don't get me wrong, I think it's awesome. I love it. I think it's so cool that because here in Chiefs land, it's the Chiefs Kingdom, and the person who originated that actually is now the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holtis. So they got their own thing. Everybody talks about the Cowboys Nation, all that. Well, we're not the nation, we're the kingdom. And so I think that's cool. And then I think Duval is cool. I really do. I think that's kind of fascinating. I had no idea. Welcome, Duval. You're going to get hit. That's pretty good. Adam, thank you so much for the time. Now I know that answer. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, and enjoy the game coming up Saturday.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Did you know that's where it came from?
No.
I know Duval, obviously. I mean, it's very simple. But
yeah, I knew Duval, the fact that it's Duval County.
Yeah,
Duval, I knew that.
Yes.
I did not know where it came from.
I didn't either. Welcome to
There's
Duval.
also a time where I didn't realize it was the county. I just knew they said it, and I didn't really
Oh, I knew it was
figure
the
it
county.
out.
I knew it was the county.
And very quickly, I parsed that out.
Welcome to Duval. You're gonna get hit. That's awesome.
Honestly beautiful.
One of my favorite videos of all time involves a Jacksonville Jaguar. And I should have asked Adam about this. Dang it. Do you remember he played for Tennessee? Monster human, John Henderson.
Yeah.
Defensive tackle.
Yeah. Big dude.
Where's that video of him going, hit me, Mike? And he smacks him across the face, kind of like all these viral videos of the smacking of the face going on right now.
Yeah.
The competition or whatever. And he goes, Mike, you got to do better than that. You got to make me bleed. And then he smacks him as hard as this.
Smacks the you-know-what out of him.
This trainer just smacks him in the face. And he goes, yeah, that's right, Joe. There we go. Now we got blood flowing. And he walks around and he's hitting the door and everything. Just an absolute mammoth of a man in John Henderson. Played only for the Jaguars, I believe. That's still one of my favorite videos, to whereas I try to explain to people that they are different. NFL, defensive linemen, they're different. They're not I wish people could walk up to Chris Jones and just see how big that man is.
Huge.
Gigantic.
He's monstrous.
And John Henderson would have made Chris Jones look small.
Yes.
Come on, Joe. Hit me. And he did it every game. That's how John Henderson got pumped up. The dude smacked him in the face multiple times until he felt like, all right, now I'm like, that should terrify you.
Yeah. Terrifies me.
It's just terrifying. I think about that video. That might be the first thing that pops into my head when I think of the Jaguars. Is John Henderson back in like, I bet it was like 90, 98, 97,
Probably.
something like that.
See, you have that. I can't get the image out of my head of earlier this year where their mascot Jackson DeVille was wearing a Speedo with his Jackson head.
Oh no, he played,
that I can't get out of my head.
he played from
I don't want it there.
02 to 08. Yeah. 02 to 08. Just a gigantic, scary man. Fantastic.
Jaguars are a fun time, man.
6'7", 340.
That large of a human shouldn't get to exist. Like, no, like human beings shouldn't get to be that big.
You know the video I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I know, like to a T. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think I watched that video popped up on my Twitter. I think like 3 days ago. I think that video hit my Twitter timeline like 3 days ago.
Yeah, if you just Google John Henderson Jags,
You get that.
The first thing that pops up is, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Was he? Yes, the idea after John Henderson hollers Duval before Saturday's game, fans should turn and take a slap one hand out from your neighbor.
Jacksonville's a weird place.
That's awesome. So he was at the playoff game. He was the one who did the Duval chant to start things out. It looks like
Good for them.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh my gosh, he's still
big.
Still big. Yeah. Yeah. John Henderson was the first one to do the Duval on Saturday. That's awesome. We got a lot more to get to coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll go with Everyone Loves the List, and we're going to talk about plenty of offense for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we'll hear from head coach Andy Reid as he's set to meet with the media coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. That's all coming up here on Mic'd Up. Mic'd up. Thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday afternoon. Want to thank Adam Stites for coming on, talking all things Chiefs Jags. We will hear from head coach Andy Reid. He is meeting with the media right now. We'll get to what Big Red has to say, maybe a few players or two coming up at the bottom of the hour and in the 2 o'clock hour. We got Everyone Loves the List. In light of Travis and Jason Kelsey going on about the Waffle House, whether or not a Waffle House is a diner or not, which
It is.
it won. If you have to label it something,
It's a diner.
it's a diner. But honestly, the Waffle House is just its own entity. A Waffle House is a Waffle House.
Now that I will agree with more. If we're gonna give it
Yeah.
the most correct labeling
It's just
as
a Waffle
possible, it's Waffle House.
Kind of like, is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, it's a hot dog.
It's a hot dog. Like, if you're gonna, is it technically a sandwich? Yes. Is a Waffle House technically a diner?
Yes,
I agree, but it's like its own entity, you know?
I'm good with this. I'm good with this.
Look at that.
I'm good with this mainly because it allows me to go to the point that the hot dog is just its own subset of a creative thing.
You know,
Stop
like
trying to put it in another box.
it, just like cereal soup. Like, it's not a,
God,
an
that's so
argument.
uncomfortable to think about, but it technically is.
You know? So, by the way, I sent that text to a bunch of family and friends and all that kind of stuff. Blew their mind. Absolutely blew their mind. And said, yeah. Which the Big O Tires text line also brought up a great point. Is ketchup a fruit smoothie? because tomato is a fruit, and it's
See, to me,
essentially
smoothies need more than one ingredient.
I'm with you. Yeah,
And so therefore
Yes.
ketchup can't be. Now, is ketchup just a tomato puree? I think that's actually a much more excellent way to put it,
people are wondering.
because it is just pureed tomatoes essentially. This is the rabbit holes we shouldn't let people go down.
No, this is the rabbit holes that people need. The one thing that stinks about the smartphone, it ruined the barroom debate. It ruined the bar debate, because now all you do is look it up. You know what I mean?
Did you know that the original purpose of the Guinness Book of World Records was designed with the express wording of settling barroom debates?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what it was designed for. That's what it was supposed to collect, was information that people were always debating. And now it's definitely not that anymore.
Yeah. It used to be, even just as simple as, who was the 11th president of the United States? And people would argue back and forth. Someone was like, just hold on real quick. Oh, it was Polk. It was Polk.
Was Polk really 11th? I'm looking this up. You got this right. I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's Polk. It's Polk. You don't even have to look it up.
You're right.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you. Jake, I am proud of you.
But like, you needed someone with like a Rain Man type of brain to know a lot of these things. That's why our discussion on what is more likely to happen, an undefeated 20-0 season or a
300 game
winner is a perfect barroom debate, because it is, from the Big O Tires text line, it's like comparing apples and oranges. Yes, we understand. That's what makes it a great debate, because one's a team game, one's an individual game.
We'll also add wins are not an individual statistic. They're actually heavily reliant upon the performance of your team in addition to your individual performance, which is also why wins are a bad reflection of how good a pitcher is, and they're the second most useless statistic in baseball.
Behind
save. The save is the most useless stat in baseball. It tells you nothing. It tells me that a guy finished a game. It does not inherently tell me how well he pitched. It does not.
I kind of agree with you. The only thing about a save is I do think it's harder to get the final 3 outs of a game than another 3 outs.
I'm not disagreeing with you,
know what I mean? But that doesn't tell you
it doesn't tell you how you got to earn it. Did you earn those final 3 outs because you gave up 2 runs and 5 hits and were getting knocked around but got lucky to finally get the third?
Or you were up
or
by
did
3?
You go 3 up, 3 down with an immaculate inning of 3 strikeouts on 9 strikes? Those 2 performances, completely different. One amazing, one mediocre, earned the exact same statistic in the record book. That's why the save is useless to me. It tells you nothing by itself.
I do think it's getting the final 3 outs of a game is the hardest 3 outs to get in a game.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
That's why
we just need a better statistic to get us there.
That's why I look at saves as sometimes it is a valuable thing, because that's when the most pressure's on. Your backs are against the wall. I mean, how many times we got to look at that as ask the Detroit Tigers back in their heyday. Are saves important? They are important, but I with you. There's a lot of good
statistics tell you a lot by themselves.
Yeah, like
bad statistics don't tell you anything.
Like VORP, fantastic stat. I don't even know what VORP is.
I don't know what you're doing anymore.
We got plenty to get to. Andy Reid says that McCole Hardman was the only player who didn't practice today, and he will most likely be listed as out versus the Jags. Does McCole Hardman play another snap for the Chiefs ever?
I think yes now. What
did you just say?
I think yes now.
I think you said yes, no, and I was
no. I said yes now because I used to think there was no way McCole was coming back to the Chiefs. I think these injuries are going to destroy his market price.
Okay, so you think...
I think he's coming back to the Chiefs because he's going to have... The market's not going to be what he wants. If I were to make a prediction right now on this day, January 19th at 1:13 in the afternoon Central Time in Topeka, Kansas, I would say McCole signs a 1-year deal. I think he'll sign a 1-year prove-it deal with the Chiefs.
The reason
because the longer-term deals on the market are going to be so low because he missed so much of this year hurt. and never really got to really show his groove, I think he'll take a prove-it deal with the Chiefs.
He has not played his final down for the Chiefs because he will be playing on February the 12th. That's 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not wrong.
He's been out for a while.
Yeah,
I
he
think
has.
he will play
He's out for a
again
while.
for the Chiefs this year because I think the Chiefs are going to make the Super Bowl.
You want a bolder take, though, than has McCall played his last snap for the Chiefs? Has Clyde Edwards-Helaire played his last snap for the Chiefs?
No, he'll play next year because he'll be his 4th year. Will be next year. They're not going to cut him. He's too cheap to cut, I think. Now, will they pick up his 5th year option? No, absolutely
no
not.
chance in hell. I mean, do you really need him?
I mean, you don't. I just need. I gotta look up
His cap hit's really tiny.
his cap just to make sure.
It's like 3 something.
Oh yeah, he's back next year. It's 2.5.
Oh, 2.5.
Or no, excuse me. No, I don't know what it is next year. This is. Wait a minute. This is Clyde's 4th year.
Shouldn't be.
Or no, 2023.
No.
I don't because the year.
Yeah.
Calendar year.
Yeah.
No, his cap is 3.5. If you cut him, it's 2.5. So you'd save $1 million. No, he's back next year. Then he'll be gone after 2023.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be gone after 2023.
Okay.
I want to discuss something about the playoffs right now. It is all to me about the offensive side of things. 6 of the 8 teams are led by offensive-minded head coaches. 6 of the 8 teams. Look at the quarterbacks. Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, if you really want to go to it, Daniel Jones. The 49ers have the worst quarterback in Brock Purdy, but we're going to get to this in a second. Brock Purdy isn't asked to do a ton. He's asked to do one simple thing, and he is excelling at it right now. And it's also helped out that the 49ers have put him in that spot. But look at the top 3 offenses in the NFL are still around. Chiefs, Bills, Bengals. And then the 49ers and the Eagles, or excuse me, Chiefs, Bills, Eagles are the top 3 offenses in the NFL. The next 3 are the Lions, Bengals, and 49ers. And the Bengals and the 49ers are still in the playoffs. It is an offensive league right now in the NFL. And I can't believe more offensive minds are not being looked at head coaches.
I'd agree.
It's not a shocker. Every team to make the divisional round had a top 10 offense in the regular season.
We've talked about it. The key is being able to put points on the board. That is what you need to be able to do to have success in this day and age in the NFL. I mean, go back to when we were discussing who was going to win the AFC South and how that would impact the playoff race. And if you were, a Chiefs fan, who would you want to make it? Would have been better to have the Titans. Because, the Titans had a better defense than the Jags, but Jags can at least put points on the board. Titans could have, and that's why I said at the time, give me the team that is going to make it hard for me to get my points up, but I know I can put points on them, then the team that maybe I'll have an easier time putting my own points up, but they're going to put their own up. Like, give me the team that, if I had to pick a team to face, I want the one that has a harder time putting points on the board. And we're seeing that with the way these playoffs are shaking out, is that all the teams advancing, all the teams getting here, there is a wide variety of defensive talent left in the playoffs. But all 8 of these teams have in common is they can score. And that's what's important, is if you can't score, you go home. And no, I agree. I think that makes it even more intriguing that we hear a lot of times that, some of these teams are looking more heavily into DC candidates sometimes. It's very intriguing to me. At the same time, I think it also tells you that that is not the worst way to go about it, but it means that if you're head man in charge of the defensive head coach, you need them to understand to put together a very good offensive staff or just have very good offensive pieces like the Buffalo Bills. Sean McDermott's a defensive head coach, But he's taking the time to not only have good offensive players and have a quarterback in Josh Allen. It's, he had Brian Dable, and now they're moving on, and he's just making sure to have a good offensive staff in place because he knows that part of the ball is important.
Quarterback play is important.
Very.
Offensive play is such a big deal. It really, really is. Offense beats good defense. I really do believe that. And we'll find out here coming up in the playoffs, because if the Cowboys offense plays like they did against the Bucs, then they're beating the 49ers. But that's how important this stretch is. But I also want to look at this. I think this is very interesting. This is coming from Eric Eager. We're going to talk with Eric Eager of Sumer Sports, and they have the quarterbacks listed by their metric, and it shows them how good they are. Don't worry about the numbers and everything. They got them ranked in terms of behind the line of scrimmage, short passes, intermediate passes. Behind the line of scrimmage, pretty simple. Behind the line of scrimmage. Short passes are 0 to 5 yards. Intermediate passes are 5 to 15. And the deep ball is 15 yards or more. Patrick Mahomes is number one when you add those up. He is the best at behind the line of scrimmage. And that right there is not because of Patrick Mahomes. It's because of Andy Reid. The jet sweeps, those little flips. It is the screen game. Chiefs are excellent at behind the line of scrimmage. Short passes. Patrick Mahomes, not near the top. Right in the middle of intermediate, and he is the second best deep ball thrower left in the divisional round. Overall, he is number one if you add all of those up. Number two is Jalen Hurts. Very good at behind the line of scrimmage. Pretty much short and intermediate, not great, but he throws a pretty good deep ball. He also has good deep ball targets in Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. Then you got Joe Burrow. Terrible behind the line of scrimmage. And then above average everywhere else. He's number three. Daniel Jones. This should not surprise you. And all this stuff checks out. Are you surprised that Patrick Mahomes is the best behind the line of scrimmage? Absolutely not. And he's excellent at a deep ball, really good at intermediate, and still above average when it comes to the short passes. He doesn't throw a ton of those short passes. Most of them are intermediate or deep. Daniel Jones, bad at the short pass, or bad at behind the line of scrimmage. Second best at the short passing. That doesn't surprise me at all.
No,
it really doesn't. Josh Allen. This is interesting about Josh Allen. He is the one guy that is awful behind the line of scrimmage, awful at intermediate, but he is excellent at the deep ball and short passes. That's kind of wild to me, how you go from awful behind the line of scrimmage, which doesn't really, to me, affect the quarterback a whole lot.
Yeah, that's usually a lot of other things.
I mean, there is some of it of, being able to get rid of the ball when someone's, but that's more scheme to me. But he's very good at the short passes, terrible intermediate, but excellent at the deep ball, the best. Then you've got Dak Prescott, who is honestly below average at pretty much everything. Trevor Lawrence is good intermediate-wise, but not any good elsewhere. And then if this doesn't scream system quarterback, but man, he does it right, it's Brock Purdy. He's listed as last on this list. The worst at behind the line of scrimmage, the worst at short yardage, the worst deep ball thrower, but he is the best at the intermediate throw. And that tells me right there, it is scheme. Getting the ball in Debo, getting the ball in McCaffrey, getting the ball to Kittle, getting the ball to Ayuk in the 5 to 15 yard range, where slant routes, where crossing routes, where they can do what? Yards after the catch. That's incredible. He is, and it's not even close right now, the best at the intermediate throw. It is, 3 3-step drop, slant route, right over the middle, crossing route, dig route, delay route. Get those guys with yards after the catch in space. Otherwise, he's terrible at looking at these numbers that Eric Eager put out. It's incredible. It really, really is. Mahomes the best. And it doesn't surprise me when it goes Mahomes, Hurts, Burrow, those 3, 1, 2, 3, and Josh Allen, been too inconsistent at the end of the year. Yeah. It checks out. It really, really does. Coming up next, everyone loves the list. Anytime to eat a specific food during the day. We'll get to that next. Loves the list in light of the Waffle House getting a lot of talk from the Kelsey brothers on their podcast, New Heights. I thought of
Waffle House is so good.
It's delicious. Food you can eat at any time of the day. Any time of the day. I don't care what time of day it is. What do you got?
Number 4 for me is a simple one. Eggs, particularly a fried egg. I'll make myself a fried egg at any time of the day, and I'll enjoy it.
This is something that I've always liked as a kid, and my son likes it now. Peanut butter toast. I love peanut butter toast.
Never
man.
a bad call.
Just I'll eat that anywhere. Lunch, dinner, it doesn't matter. 1 a.m, love it.
Number 3 for me, biscuits and gravy. I have it many times at breakfast for dinner, and that is a staple that I will often do.
Brenner.
Delicious.
Yep.
Brenner is a beautiful concept.
Number 3 for me, cereal.
Ooh, that's a good one. I didn't think about that.
I can eat cereal any damn time.
That's true. That's an honorable mention for me. I didn't think about that.
Love cereal. I'll eat cereal morning, afternoon, night. If I'm hungry, what is the fix? CTC, baby. That's Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is very good. Number 2 for me, pizza.
Pizza's number 2 for me.
Pizza's just any time of day, man. If I got that baby, if I got those leftovers in the fridge, I will warm that up at any moment, anytime, without warning.
Low key, sometimes I wonder if day old pizza in the fridge, just right out of the fridge, is better than hot.
See, I've never been able to become a cold pizza guy.
I love cold
I don't
pizza.
judge anyone that does.
Love
I've never
it.
been able to do it. I got to heat it up a bit first, but it doesn't take long, so I don't mind.
The meat pizza from Glory Days. Cold. Oh, fantastic.
Fair enough. Number one for me is this, because I've quite literally made it, I think, at 2 a.m., 6 p.m. as the dinner time for lunch and for breakfast. Waffles. If it is just if I'm existing on this earth, it will never be wrong to ask me if I want waffles, and I will always say yes.
Do you put fruit on your waffles?
I do not. It's just a waffle, a little bit of butter, and some syrup.
Okay.
That's it.
Number one for me, the breakfast burrito. Eggs, sausage, bacon, cheese, wrapped up in a tortilla. The best. Not even close. Coming up next, we're going to hear from head coach Andy Reid.
As a truck driver, I've learned
Hear from Chris Jones coming up in the 2 o'clock hour. We will hear from Juju Smith-Schuster coming up as well in just a little bit. But first, we have got to get to head coach Andy Reid as he met with the media today. Gave a little update on McCole Hardman and his injury status. Says not quite there. But this is what head coach Andy Reid had to say to the media today.
We backed off him just to see if we couldn't get him back going this week. And so he'll most likely be listed as out going forward. But it's not for lack of effort. It's just the injury. So, and he's working through it. Look forward to the challenge of playing the Jags. We know they're a good football team. Obviously, everybody playing right now is our good football team. So, we like the part that we're able to play at home here in front of our home crowd. We know they'll be wild. And our guys have had a good week of practice. We've just got to go out and execute and do the things that we do. So anyways, with that, time's yours.
Any chance of activating Fortson or Clyde?
I'll go back and talk. I haven't talked to Veach about that yet, but probably not, I tell you.
Coach, with Frank Clark limited practice the past 2 days, what do you anticipate for him for Saturday?
Yeah, you know what? I just talked to him, so I can tell you this hot off the press, right? So he actually feels very good, and he practiced well today, so and really yesterday.
Everything you do offensively and want to do offensively, once the postseason comes in, it's been that same group of your offensive line the whole time. For what luxury kind of is that to have that be so steady together?
Yeah, it's also good that they get along. I mean, that group is a tight group, and normally it is with most teams, I think. So, but they enjoy playing with each other, and they do well. And just the familiarity, especially when you get into games and all those things. I'm saying the twists and things that go on from a good defensive line, in which they're going to be playing. Those two inside techniques are powerful men, and the two outside guys can fly. So it becomes very important.
Coach, I remember when the Jags came to town earlier, even though the record wasn't great, you had mentioned that it looked like they had really bought into what Doug was doing. Yeah. I'm assuming with the hot streak they've been on and getting through that game last time, you're seeing really more good things from them on that front.
Yeah, you bet. They've improved every week, and and they have bought in. Doug's done a great job, as his coaches have. I mean, it takes everybody. So, but he's done a nice job with that group.
Coach, after what the Jags did last week, any extra notes to keep the pressure on if you guys do build the lead in the game, making sure that you guys finish?
One of the neat things is everybody saw it, so you don't have to say much. I mean, that was a great job by them, by Jacksonville. So our guys they're obviously aware of that. The 4 quarters of football. You get to this round, and these games are normally separated by one score if you traditionally. So you gotta play for 4 quarters, absolutely.
On that game Saturday, you've dealt with quarterbacks your whole life, and young quarterbacks, and Trevor got off to such a rough start. Can you kind of put yourself in Doug's shoes on how he was able to kind of get him right to go out there and do what they did?
No, listen, he did a great job. You see that clip from one of their offensive linemen talking to him, and they supported him, and that's what it's all about. And the kid's won ever since he was in grammar school, so he's a pretty good player.
Andy, I have to ask. Germany, the news today, just your overall thoughts on now that it's official. You guys get the opportunity to go there.
Yeah, listen, I got to tell you, I haven't thought about it. I look forward to getting a bratwurst. I mean, I haven't thought about it. I mean, we're so focused in on this thing that that's Ted and the front office.
That is head coach Andy Reid meeting with the media today. Not very long for Big Red this afternoon, but he normally isn't very long on Fridays leading into games coming up on Sunday. But Chiefs gearing up for the Jaguars on Saturday. 2:00 kickoff. 3:30, or excuse me, 2:00 pregame coverage, beg your pardon. 3:30 kickoff coming on our sister station, the Big 94.5 Country. Moving to Juju Smith-Schuster, first year wide receiver for the Chiefs. Here is what Juju had to say to the media today.
If you think back to the year that was, just how does it feel to kind of come full circle? This
feels. I'll just tell you this: it feels to be on this side of the ball, and it's amazing. I would say, yeah, last year it was a tough situation coming in here and playing, a great team, and now that I'm here and I'm going into this game, playing against another good team, but like I said, it just feels good to be on this side of the ball.
Juju, coach was just saying that Nicole's likely going to be out, but you guys as a unit have seemed to do a really good job of making up for that production while he's gone. How do you see that continuing into the playoffs now?
I mean, like you said, like guys like KT, Sky, they're stepping up in the big role. Miko's a great player, and he's helped us out tremendously, and he's still helping us out now, getting the guys ready as far as the stuff that is carried for Miko. Guys like us, I think the chemistry is everyone just working together. It's for the number one goal, and it's to win the game and, make it to the next round. So it's just nice that we have so many players to play different positions and still go out there and still perform.
You were saying that Nicole's been how has he been helping you guys behind the scenes?
Yeah, just in meeting rooms, helping us out, the young guys, just kind of what a vet would do.
Juju, with the Jacksonville game last time, the lessons you kind of learned from that one and take it to this, what you can improve upon, and what you saw out of that secondary unit that you think, okay, maybe things will be changed this time around. Yeah,
I mean, you talk about a defense that's, an aggressive defense. They play hard, they attack the ball, and that's something that, happened last game. And even just past game, them playing against the Chargers, you can see that, they're not going to quit. They have a high-power offense, just as we do. So it's going to be nice. It'll be a good game, gladiator football, what I would say.
You're obviously were injured in the game against them last time. When you go back out there this time against them, I mean, you look for that guy.
No. I just play ball at the end of the day. I think everything's gonna set up how it's meant to be. I don't think about the past. Like I said, I think Cisco's a great player. He's an aggressive guy. He plays hard. He has those big hits, and that just goes to say that I just got to play harder. And that's just the respect game that he brings to the table, and just what we had to bring to the table. So as far as just going out there, just playing ball, and just know what I'm used to.
When you saw these guys come here last time, they were in that kind of low part of their season. When they left here, they turned it on. Did you think in your mind, wow, that looks like a playoff team when you guys played them last time? Or did something maybe special happen for them down the stretch?
I think, everyone brings their best A game. And I would say this, even, teams that we beat, really good teams that we beat in the past, they come out and they'll go on the game-winning streak and, beat everyone. And that's kind of how we see Jacksonville. That's also how I see the 49ers, another team that's very, very successful team, really good team. And now both those teams are playoff teams. So I would say, yeah, Jacksonville's a playoff team. They're going to come in here, a lot of energy, and they're going to give us their best game.
Juju, Todd mentioned the big hits. Did you hear from Cisco after it all?
Yeah, I got a DM from him. He slid in my DMs. Huh? He apologized, and it's all good. I appreciate it. And I know, man, he's been in the league for quite some time. I know his game. He plays hard. He's a good player, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Your teammates were pretty emotional though afterwards about that hit. Do you just sense that they want to match his physicality in this game, that sort of thing?
When someone goes down like that, in my case, you look around the league. It's been a tough subject when players get hit and they go down. Everyone's gonna be emotional. One of my really good, family friends, Tua, and he's going through situations. So for me, everyone around us is very emotional, but I guess going into this game, we're just so pumped and ready. We haven't played ball for 2 weeks now. So it's just more so for us to go out there and just showcase, for our fans.
Juju, Andy said early in the week that Patrick has adapted well with change, and particularly with the receivers. As a unit, how do you look back on how all that has developed?
Yeah, you have so many different type of receivers that Pat's dealing with You have small guys who can move around, fast, slow, whatever you want to call it. He has it and he's going to adjust. And that's something that he's really, really good at. But not only that, you think about the running backs that we're using. We're using 3 to 4 running backs in the game. We're using 5 different receivers, using 3 different tight ends. So for a guy like Patrick Mahomes to go in the game and know everyone's tendency of what they have, I mean, it's the chemistry is there, and he's building it day in, day out, and you'll see it, this Saturday.
Do you see a difference between, regular season Patrick and playoff Patrick? Is there a difference there that you've observed, or is it just pretty much the same as always?
I think he's always had that same mindset of just going out there and dominate on and off the field, how he is in person. But I would say the intensity is a lot higher, playoff game, postseason. It's elimination round. You win or go home.
What would it mean if you guys won Saturday and got the opportunity to play in the AFC Championship game?
Oh, it mean a lot, man. It mean a lot for a lot of us, even for myself. My rookie year, I got it to this far and then lost against Jacksonville. And it's not the best feeling, So for us to go out here, get this W, get this win, and get ready for next week is going to be huge for us. And a lot of young guys too, man, like Pop, Sky, like they've never been into a season like the season is long. Usually in college you're done, like late December if you don't make a bowl game. So I think it's just for us, for all of us, it's just, man, we just want to have to play ball. We've been sitting on our butt for 2 weeks, just training and practicing. So like I said, this Saturday comes, it's gonna have a lot of fun.
Is there something that you learned, or what maybe a couple of examples of something that is maybe more than you expected from the time you first got to OTAs and going down to Texas, from either Andy or Patrick about this offense or the way they go about things that maybe has surprised you along the way?
Not really. No, honestly, it's been the same.
As expected.
As expected, go show your personalities, and we got them cheeseburgers. So.
All right, thanks, guys.
So the hit that Cisco put on, I'm sorry, I can't think. His name is Andre Cisco, right? For the Jaguars. Anytime I see the name Cisco, the only thing I can think about is the music guy with the thong song.
So that's what you think. That's not what I think of, but interesting.
When I Cisco, that's the first thing I think about. That's the first thing I think about.
Of course it is. You're a child.
No, because the Cisco came out in his, silver hair and the thong song was a monster hit.
I know.
Hold on a second. When did that come out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When were you born?
96.
Okay. This is why you don't think of that song. It was recorded in 99.
Yeah, I was not listening to that song when it came out.
Obviously, you were 3. I was 15.
Yeah.
15-year-old male. And when the song came out,
had you in a vice grip.
That was the song, man. So that's why the first thing I think about when I think of Cisco is not. Like, what do you think of?
I think
like
of
Cisco Systems.
I think of the perishable food delivery service because I worked in food service, and so that's what Cisco is always. That's who we use with Cisco.
That thing got to number 3 in the U.S. Billboard Hot 100.
Okay.
Number 1 hit in the UK hip hop.
Of course it was.
New Zealand, number 1.
That tracks. Those Kiwis.
2 in Australia.
Yeah, those Aussies.
Number 1 in the U.S. Rhythmic.
Those Rhythmics.
Italy, not a fan. Number 20.
Nah, Italians.
That's the worst thing. But that's what I think of. But anyways, he reached out to him via social media and said, "Hey, no hard feelings. Sorry about that." It's one of those things where I think it's in the moment, and afterwards you're like, "Man, it's kind of a jerk," because that was bad.
Yeah.
He had 2 hits in that game.
Mm-hmm.
They were both bad.
Yeah.
Should have been flagged for both of them.
Yeah.
So, but that goes to show you reached out a little bit to say no hard feelings, we're good. But you did hear him say, hey, in the playoffs, you know, it gets ramped up a little bit. Even Chris Jones, and we're going to hear from Chris Jones in the 2:00 hour about it's different. The playoffs are different. Also, comments on the on our stream on YouTube, which is very simple. It's right there on our main page on our website, 580wibw.com. You can see that got a little hair issue going on apparently. But I think the same way, Jake. It's I can't help but not.
Well, that was an appropriate bump to play us back with.
I mean, well, you can play it.
I know you can, but there's a I think
I don't think there's any swearing in it.
We'll investigate. Maybe the thong song will make an appearance.
Yeah.
Are you reminded of the lyrics of that song now?
Oh, that dress so scandalous. Yeah, we can't air that. We can't
Yep,
air this.
yep.
There's some words in there that
There's
are
some-
not
some
appropriate.
choice moments that we
Yep.
can't use. Yes,
She had to, this is a song where you need like James Earl Jones to read it as a, you know, serious piece of literature.
Yeah.
She had dumps like a truck. Truck. Thighs like what? What? Baby, move your butt. But. I think I'll sing it again.
This has been a dramatic reading of the thong song by Jake LeBon.
It is not. This song will not go down with the likes of Shakespeare, this and Hamlet and Macbeth.
No,
not together. Othello, maybe.
Why you hating on Othello?
I'm just that's more of it.
Hate on King Lear for hating on anything.
I think I'll sing it again.
Jake, I have to know, did you wake up today, you know, go through the joys you have dealing with your children in the morning?
No,
and then
it was
arrive
great
here
this morning. They slept all the way through the night.
Wow, I'm impressed.
All of a sudden, I hear Lawson, you know, talking, hanging out in his room. And I roll over thinking, oh, it's probably like 1 a.m. Nope. 6 o'clock. Up and at him. Let's do this.
Either way, did you
played a rousing game of hide and seek this morning?
Oh.
Yes. What did you do at 6 o'clock this morning? I was playing hide and seek for 30 minutes with my son and daughter.
I think I briefly woke up at 6 to use the restroom, petted my cat, and then went back to bed.
Yeah. I was
not up and around.
I was hiding.
Did you win?
Is there a winner in hide and
Yes.
seek? But when you like, because
you win when they give up and say they can't find you.
Oh, then nobody won then, because we found it. Everyone found each other.
Okay, then you're all losers.
But the whole goal is to find them.
Well, who was the seeker? Because then the seeker won.
Fulton, I don't think you're quite understanding. There's not a whole lot of. Oh.
No, I know there's not a whole lot of
Fulton,
agency here.
I don't think you realize that. I don't really hide in very difficult spots because I don't want my kids to be
supervised
very long.
Listen, all I'm saying,
by
James, you're
the-
missing a golden opportunity to teach your kids self-reliance and investigative skills.
By the way, it is so easy to find the person because where's my dog?
Yes, that's
Sadie-
actually
Sadie
very true.
finds everybody quicker than anybody. Very, very easily. So, yeah, no, today just.
I'm just saying.
So you never know where we're gonna go in this show. You
Yeah.
never do. You
And
might
that was the beginning part of this. Was did you think at any point getting up today that we were going to get to a tangent on the thong song?
No, because I didn't think Mr. Andre Cisco, the defensive back for the Jaguars, would be thrown into our vernacular. But therefore, when it did,
We got to Cisco,
You
the
got
music
to
artist, and
you get to
the thong song.
Dumps like a truck.
Truck.
We got a lot more. This is a very Friday vibe
Oh
to
my goodness.
today's show. I can promise you that. But you know what? We're yes, from the Big O Tires text line, Fulton was twerking in his Pampers when that song was on.
I can promise you that probably wasn't happening.
What if your parents were playing that when you were like 3 and you didn't even know it?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Coming up, we're gonna hear from Chris Jones, and we got another edition of You Did What. Hour of Mic'd Up on this Thursday. Although it feels like a Friday today, doesn't it? Feels like a Friday today. Plus, we've got high school hoops coming up tonight. 3 games on the docket because it is the Topeka Invitational Tournament at the Charger Dome. Should be a good one this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We've got the Washburn Coach Show coming up tonight from 6 to 7. We're going to hear from Chris Jones. Another edition of You Did What? And we'll talk about, according to Willie Gay, Chiefs linebacker, what's the key to the Chiefs beating the Jaguars? Hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. Outside of Topeka, 785-272-9429. Before we get to Chris Jones, did you see that Joe Mixon is unhappy and he thinks it's Bush League that the NFL is selling tickets for the Chiefs Bills AFC title game in Atlanta?
So I've seen Mixon's take, and I've seen many. There are a lot of people with thoughts and opinions on the NFL already saying for Chiefs and Bills fans to begin the process of buying their tickets for a neutral site game in Atlanta. And here's what I have to say to Mr. Mixon and some of the different thoughts of other people. Do you know the logistics of hosting a neutral site game and how difficult it actually can be to balance ticket allotment and make sure that the fans of both teams get as much equal share of everything as possible and figuring out what to do at that place? There's a reason they're starting this so early. This is not a slap in the face to you, Bengals fans or Bengals players, to you, Joe Mixon. This is not the NFL saying, oh, we think you're going to lose. This is not to you conspiracy theorists out there that I've seen this floating around with a heavy prevalency, that this is a sign that the NFL is rigged and that Bills and Chiefs is going to have to be the game. It's not what this is a sign at all. This is the NFL being proactive with the fact that it is hard to put on a neutral site game, and they don't, in the span of an exact week's amount of time, want to go through the process of selling out ticket allotments to tens of thousands of people and then make the logistics of getting everything set up.
Do you think anybody has told Joe Mixon that you can actually buy Bengals versus Jaguars tickets there in Cincinnati? Like, I'm starting to wonder if this is a worse clip than Donovan McNabb not knowing that you can tie. Like Chiefs players. Chris Jones should have came out today and said, can't believe it. Can't believe that the Jaguars and the Bengals, that the Bengals are selling tickets for the AFC title game in Cincinnati. That's incredible. Like, because that's what they're doing. You can buy a Bengals Jaguars ticket for the AFC title game.
Just called being prepared with your ticket allotments.
Like,
also,
does he really not know that?
And here's what I'll say to this as well: the only ones available right now are the season ticket holders.
Yes, correct.
Like, they're not going to release the general public stuff till next week when they would know. Like, this is just the NFL being prepared. Because no, I've seen those takes of that, and I've seen a bunch of the day it was announced. The day it was announced, every single tweet that was showing that shared the memo that the NFL is telling Bills and Bengals to already go ahead and start pushing their allotments. Nearly every reply underneath it was the NFL's rigged. This is the blatant sign the NFL's rigged. Why would you be doing this if this game wasn't going to for sure happen? Like, no, this is just how you prepare for a neutral site game. The NFL did not want to have to do it all in a week. You know, you guys, any of you out there know how hard that would be? How hard it would be in a week's worth of time to set up an entire championship game and sell out an entire stadium.
Am I too critical on someone like Joe Mixon not knowing how the NFL does things?
I don't think it needs to be a level of being critical of Mixon for not knowing how the NFL works. You know what? There are plenty.
I thought that was pretty much common knowledge that they sell tickets to potential things all the time.
There should be, and you listen, you know what? For some things, there are people that don't understand the higher workings of their job because it's way above their pay grade, and I don't ever blame them for that. But to use it as a point to complain, like, I don't get that, because, and it comes down, it's like, it's as if Joe Mixon is already setting itself up for if they lose, then he will be like, we have no accountability. We lost because it's rigged.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Like, which I don't respect that. I don't respect anyone that does that in anything. You didn't lose because something was rigged. You lost because you lost. Like, take your loss like an adult. Suck it up. You weren't the better team. Suck it up that someone beat you, and take your loss and go home.
I thought that was kind of interesting. That I think it's up there. I really do. With Donovan, I didn't know you could tie. Wow, that's okay. Chris Jones met with the media. Chris Jones had some fun with the media today. Some laughs during the press conference. You will hear them during this press conference. But this is what Chris Jones had to say to the media today.
Postseason football, you know, you talk to all the young guys about how it's going to get faster and faster and everything changes. How real is that, and how much do you feel more comfortable going to these games later in your career from what you've been earlier?
It's a little different. The game speeds up, the level of intensity, the level of discipline you got to have to make sure you minimize error and maximize potential. So I think we beat the young guys up over the week to understand what type of level of play we need from them and the expectation playing playoff football in Arrowhead, Giha, wherever stadium. Oh, it's not Giha? Oh, excuse me. My apologies. It's okay. Giha.
When you guys faced these guys in, I guess, November, when they left, did you think that looked like a team you might see later in the year? I know you guys think that a lot during the season, but have they surprised you with maybe what they've done to get back here?
No, actually, I had a conversation with Bob Sutton prior to the last game. You know, in the tunnel, I told him we may see you guys again in the playoff. You got a good young team. As long as they put it together, they can be very special. Leaning on with the quarterback and DP, Doug Peterson is the head coach. They got a special connection going. So they're a tough team. Got a nice defense also. So they're leading those guys in the right way.
Chris, this is in the first meeting, Frank didn't play because of his suspension. What do you think he might be able to add or provide for the rest of the pass rush, given that he just was the few guys that wasn't in the first meeting?
I mean, you look at Frank Clark's resume, what he does in the playoff, it speaks for itself. I think he's tied 5th or 6th in the playoff in sacks. He got 11. And, you know, his resume speaks for itself. We know what type of player Frank Clark is, especially in the playoffs. And we're going in expecting Frank to be Frank. Glad to have him back. Glad to have him healthy, and we're looking forward to playing the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The defensive line for you, especially with 15 and a half, matching 2018 total, but then the defensive line total. How have they been able to help you get to that total and match that 2008 total, and just evolution of that defensive line throughout the season now?
I think it's an accumulation of the D-line room, unselfish guys, the D-line coaches, starting with Joe Cullen, assistant Terry Braden, staying with me before and after practice, me committing to wanting to be the leader, be the best, committing to improving my pass rush from last year, me committing to make sure that I put the extra work in, and it shows. It shows. I give all the credit to my D-line. Been unselfish. Some guys taking 2-3 people at times, so I can get to one-on-one, and Spads scheming for me. It goes. It's a lot that goes into that. The success of one player, especially the players around you or the players in your room, committing to you and letting you receive whatever that may be, a specific play or them taking on over gaps. And, it's a game of football, unselfish guys all doing it in 111. And I'm truly appreciative for the guys I have in the room.
You're not much, obviously, an individual sack guy, especially in the playoffs when it comes to wins, but just how sweet will that first playoff sack be if you're able to get it?
I thought you was going to dodge the question. Unfortunately, I have, 10 to 11 playoff games, no sacks. That's not a huge priority, but I'm going to make sure I get one this go around just to shut you guys up.
Chris, I asked this to Juju a little bit ago, but just obviously you played in the NFC Championship game last year. What would it mean for you, given all the work that you've done, to have another chance to play in that game with a victory on Saturday?
We got to get there first. We got Jacksonville coming up. They've got a good team who is looking to come in with the expectations of winning. That team is they're a competitive group of guys looking to make their mark in this league. So we got to take care of these guys even before mentioning the AFC Championship and thinking too far ahead. Let's just handle Jacksonville and let's focus on how we're going to stop these guys.
Chris, in that game against Jacksonville in November, Colin Saunders had some big moments. From playing shoulder to shoulder with him, how far has he come in the last few years?
I mean, I think his maturity speaks for itself, his growth this year. I think a huge part of that is bringing in Joe Cullen, Terry Braden. If you look at the overall defensive line from last year to this year, I see a tremendous jump in level of play from all guys, whether it's Colin Sanders, whether it's Derek Nottie, whether it's Mike Dana. And then you bring in a rookie like George Karlaftis. He finished the season strong. And we harp on it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. But Colin, in particularly, we've seen it in training camp, how he was attacking, his demeanor, his level of focus, his level of domination in training camp. And it just shows on the field. Colin, unfortunately for him, he didn't get to play as much last year dealing with injury in the years prior. But this year we asked Colin to take that next step in his game, and he's shown a lot of improvement, especially for coming off the bench and being able to make splash plays throughout the season for us, high caliber plays that we needed from him. I think it's been amazing just to watch him grow alone.
Chris, just how much are you looking forward to another playoff?
Listen, it's always special to play in the playoffs. Not a lot of teams are in this position, especially where we at, being fortunate enough to receive the bye. But just to be in the playoffs particularly, that margin of error is so small, and the level of intensity. I know Arrowhead fans are going to be crazy at GEHA feel. But yeah, the intensity is crazy, man. It's something that can't be explained. You actually have to feel it. You actually have to be there and see that level of the game. But it's also a pleasure to be in this because you can take these moments for granted.
You mentioned Joe Cullen a couple times. If you could look from year to year, what's the biggest thing maybe Joe brought to the table that had the biggest impact for y'all?
I think more so is communication and level of understanding. Understanding like where this group is trying to go and where we at. Being honest is a key thing. Communication. As long as you can be honest with a player, I think he'll respect you. Honesty goes a long way, to be able to look a man in the eyes and tell him what you truly feel about him and where you see him going. It takes a player a long way. And the belief, when you're truly honest with someone, you believe in them. And I think that brings out a level of fire that they don't even believe they have in themselves. So with Joe Cullen, what he done for this room in particularly, you look at last year, we was 29th in sacks. You look at this year, we're like number 2, and we still got the same guys. No, we brought in a rookie. With a rookie, you don't expect a tremendous jump first year. We brought in Carlos Dunlap. There's 13 year, so we didn't expect him to go out having 10 or 11 sacks. But we particularly got the same guys in the room. It's just about getting everything that those guys have out of them each day, and on Sunday letting them play.
Chris, tell me about the mindset to make those splash plays, right? You've got a knack for making big plays at big times in games. When you're a pass rusher, you can't always get there, right? I mean, you have 15 sacks. You rush hundreds of times during the year. How do you have yourself ready at that big moment to make the play when you really need it late in the game?
I think it's more so it goes back to training camp. 18 play, 19 play drive for Coach Reid, getting that mentality that whether it's the 12 play, whether it's the 18 play, it's a possibility. It might be a small possibility that you can get there, but as long as you're giving your all, you can make a difference. And with me, it's like, as long as I'm able to rush the passer, I'm going to try to rush the passer and win, whether it's the first play, the last play, or the play to close the game. And especially in the fourth quarter, when everything's on the line, I get a little extra in me because I know how important it is. And I've just been fortunate, man. I've been very, very fortunate this year to get there.
Last one. Chris, just talk about how important it is to play a complete game on Saturday. Jacksonville came down from 27 points and came back and won, and you guys struggled last year in the playoffs with being down. How important is it to play full 4 quarters?
Yeah, Jacksonville shows you the resiliency last week. 17 down, right? 27, excuse me, no pun intended. 27 down. And then be able to come back and win the game by 2. That speaks volumes. That speaks what type of team you're dealing with, right there. They don't quit. And coming here, we know we're going to have to play 4th quarters, maybe overtime with these guys because that's a competitive group. So looking forward to it. And hopefully we don't go down 27 to them and have to come back. Hopefully we can.
On Germany? Germany next
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, I can't wait to get over there.
Did Chris Jones really not know it was Geha instead of Gia?
I don't know. It's more fun to call it Geha, though.
I mean, it's not. It wouldn't surprise me because there are people who did not know it was Geha. They thought it was Gia. Like I've had friends call it Gia. So I don't think this is that out of the ordinary. I still think the fact that Chris Jones 2 years ago didn't know his name of his teammate. To know Capaccio. That's
still funny.
Is
still funny.
Now, it's not that he didn't know his teammate. Like, let's say I am a wide receiver and I didn't know a D lineman's name, even in college. We had some guys my senior year when I was at Washburn, my very last year, and we had, probably like true freshmen who were like linemen. Maybe I didn't know their name. That's legitimately possible when you've got 110 guys on your team and one of them's a true freshman lineman. I might have not known his name. That is legit possible. He was in your D-line room.
Yeah.
They called him K-Pass. But
to know Capaccio.
That still blows my mind.
What's Tano doing nowadays?
He's still in the league? I think
I'm about to find out.
He's still in the league, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, what's K-Pass up to? Is he in New Orleans? He's in New Orleans.
Yeah, he's getting run. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got 2 sacks this year.
Yeah, he did. He played in a bunch of games.
He's played in 15 games this year.
Oh yeah, I played about 25% of 25% of the snaps.
Let's go, K-Pass.
Look at that. To no capacity. I had 4 sacks last year in 21.
Nice.
Only played in 8 games.
Started 5 games in a row this year.
Mm-hmm.
Good for Tano.
He did bring up the fact that he hasn't gotten a sack.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, he brought it up because someone else brought it up yet again. I love Chris's mentality for that, though, which is just, I'm going to get one this year just to shut you guys up. Just you guys stop asking about it.
He has played in 11 games and doesn't have a sack in the playoffs.
Sacks are volatile statistics.
You should run into a sack.
He has a Super Bowl ring.
So does Dorian O'Daniel.
Fair. DOD out here catching strays.
Yeah,
Poor guy. Poor guy just catching a stray.
He didn't need that. He was the best defensive player for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. He did not have a sack.
Yes.
But I can also say that the fact that he hasn't gotten a sack in 11 games in the postseason is not good. Both of those statements are true.
It's fine.
You can be effective without a sack. And you don't have a sack in 11 games and you're Chris Jones. That's honestly wild.
Yeah.
I hope he gets one against the Jaguars. I really do. I think he will.
First defensive play of the game, he sacks Trevor Lawrence.
The first play of the game will be a handoff to Travis Etienne. So I don't think that'll be possible.
I think it'll be a pass.
We can wager on that.
You can, actually.
We can wager on that.
We can.
Very first play of the game, run or pass. It will be a run.
Pass.
What are we wagering?
I don't know. This is too much on the line here.
Too much on the line. We don't even know what we're wagering yet.
There's too much at stake here for me to be banking on Doug Peterson's play calling.
I mean, it's a run or a pass, one of the two. What if he drops back?
It's a draw.
And then he runs.
Ooh, it's a scramble.
That's a run. It goes down as a run.
Yeah, but they are wanting to pass, so I don't think you should get that. Let's call that one a wash.
No, it's either a run or
no,
a pass.
that's not fair.
Yes,
that's not fair.
In the books, it will go down as a rush.
No, it's not a designed run, though.
Doesn't matter. It's a run.
Let's just call that a wash.
That is not
just call that a wash.
It works. It is a run. But I do think Chris Jones is going to have it. No, that's not how you call it.
Let's just call that a wash.
I think he will have a good game, and I think he will get his sack. He's playing on just another level right now.
Yeah, that's true.
It really, really is. So it is that it brings up that he knows about it, though.
Yeah, he's always asked about it.
He's always asked about it. Well, it is. Hey, Chris, here's a crazy idea. If you don't want to be asked about it, get to the quarterback. Get him down.
If only it was as easy as you say.
Apparently, it's super easy because Frank Clark has 11 of them. Or 14 of them. What's he got?
I don't know.
That might be the craziest comparison, is that Frank Clark in the playoffs. Yeah, where's this playoffs here? I gotta get the playoffs here for old Frank.
Frank Clark has 11 career sacks in the playoffs.
Yes. And Chris Jones has 0.
Frank had 5 in the 2019 playoffs. Did what he was here to do.
Last year he had 3. He has 11. Or no, 2 years ago he had 3. Last year he didn't have any.
Yeah.
He has 11. Chris Jones has none. No one in this world would tell you, oh yeah, Frank Clark, better player. So that makes me even more just get a sack, man. He's got 11 of them. You have 0.
Fair.
0. Coming up next, we're going to have an edition of You Did What? And then the key to stopping the Jags is very simple, according to Willie Gay. Time for a little You Did What? And I've been saving this one ever since Saturday. It's gotten a little bit more buzz here recently. Did Mike McDaniels vape on the sideline during an NFL game?
It's so funny.
Do you think he did?
I think he did.
No, he didn't. You can't.
I think he might have.
You can't do that.
I think you might have.
There's no way.
I've watched that clip a couple of times. I think you might have. I think you might have ripped one while hanging on the sidelines. Listen, in the olden days, you used to be able to rip heaters down there, and now man's just trying to rip a digital heater.
I mean, he did.
That's it.
I'm looking at the video right now.
Like, cups the hand a little quietly.
And but the thing is that he does go.
There's an inhale motion. I think he did. But it's funny. There's none of the NFL bylaws against that. Show me where in the rule books Mike McDaniel can't do that. Show me where in the rule books my man can't bring his vape down to the sideline and in the middle of calling a play takes a hit.
The thing is, he didn't call a play.
That's fair.
He didn't call a play.
It's hilarious. God, it's funny. Truly, truly the head coach for the new generation. He's just like the rest of you.
See, I don't like. I really don't think you can do that. Like, I don't,
Show me in the rule book.
No, I really, you can't have tobacco. Well, yeah,
show me in the rule book. Show me in the rule book where Mike Patino can't do that. Now, the fact that Mike was trying to hide it might lend itself to the credence of maybe he knows he shouldn't be doing that down there. Also, maybe Mike just doesn't want to be open flashing about it. But also, show me the rule book where he can't do it.
I'm looking up, seeing if we've
Jake's going to the rule book.
No, I'm looking to see if this story here. Someone says he was blowing into his hands to keep them warm.
Sure. Maybe he was.
It's worth noting that vaping isn't allowed at Highmark Stadium. It is considered a smoke-free environment.
Okay, see, that's a reason where, you can't do that, Mike.
Sure, NFL coaches have skirted protocols like that in the past, including Mike Zimmer hiding chewing tobacco in a sunflower seeds bag.
Let's go.
Does he get asked if he vaped?
I don't know. I would. I'd think about it. Thing is, I don't think any of the Dolphins reporters would ask that on the record. Mike already busts their chops about other things they ask. He's not, and they're probably like, we don't know if we really want to get into it over.
All right.
Hey, Mike, were you ripping it on the sideline?
Alrighty, that's
still
mine.
funny.
What do you got? What's your? You did what?
Happened just last night. Our good friends in Missouri. They're playing Arkansas.
Oh, good.
That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
Good quality win for them last night against Arkansas.
They won?
Yeah. Missouri Wowie busting out the big league choo chant in a game where KU isn't around.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
Like, that's the dumbest thing ever.
Oh, it was in full force last night. Like, deafening blowed in full force last night. And yes, like, when K-State does it, I'm going to chuckle a bit. Because honestly, it's funny, and I like it. It doesn't bother me. I laugh. Missouri does it. First off, I hate you, Missouri, so I will always bring more wrath down upon you because I hate you and your school and everything about you. Moreover, though, that's a worse look. Like,
yeah, when you're not, that's so
like
terrible.
You left that rivalry. You said goodbye to it.
And
then, more importantly, the last two times you've played them in basketball, you've gotten whipped 9 ways to Sunday. So not only did you leave the rivalry behind that you're essentially bringing back up, the last 2 times you have faced that rival, they have pantsed you on national TV. Pantsed you. And yet you're still doing it.
I don't understand why you'd bring up another team when you're not playing that.
Ask K-State that. They do it too.
I know, it's dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah, Missouri did that last night. Sold out crowd at Mizzou.
They beat Arkansas?
Yeah, they did. Good for them. Not really. Screw Missouri.
Yeah, no. I like Arkansas. I like the Must Bus.
So do I. Arkansas also kind of got a level of screwed. They had 4 players foul out, and there were a lot of questionable phantom calls against the Hogs, including one that was shown, a particular clip that was shared of a shooting foul called in Arkansas, with which, I'm not kidding you, the Arkansas defender never touches the Missouri offensive player. And they called a shooting foul. Not great officiating in good old Columbia last night.
Not great. What are you doing, Missouri? Come on.
Yeah, no, that video was making the rounds, and I just was like, what are you doing, guys?
Yeah.
This is embarrassing for you.
Coming up next, injury report is out. We'll get to that coming up here on Mic'd Up. Is out. McCole Hardman listed as out. He is not going to play. Frank Clark, no designation. He's good to go after that groin injury. Sky Moore, full participant all week. L'Jarius Sneed, full participant all week. So the Kansas City Chiefs are without McCole Hardman. It's a pretty healthy injury report. How the Jaguars have not released their injury report is very interesting to me. It's 3:44. They're before a time zone before us. How do they not have that?
Because their deadline is 4, not 3.
So the Chiefs were just
because the league calendar is 4 Eastern.
Yeah, but why does it take you that long to put it out there?
I don't know. I'm just reminding you that with time zones, just because something's 3 our time doesn't mean that they have to it depends on what zone you're in. Just because they live in the worst time zone does not mean they'll be punished.
Awful.
Yes, Eastern time, worst time zone.
Can you imagine watching? I get mad that Big Monday's at 8 and I gotta finish watching the hoops game. Sometimes it'll go till 10:30.
Imagine if you lived in Jacksonville. Also, first off, why are you living in Jacksonville?
Is that terrible?
I've visited. I have.
Is Jacksonville like the Houston of Florida?
It's not great.
Never been in Jacksonville. I don't know.
And I mean to disrespect anyone out there who maybe has an affinity for the city of Jacksonville, Florida.
I don't know.
I've been there more than a few times for softball tournaments. It's never been a fun trip.
Never been in Jacksonville. I don't know.
I've been there more than I'd like to say.
I know a lot of people like, Destin. I think a lot of people don't like Orlando.
Been in Orlando a few times as well. It's all right. Overrated. So there's some people that go like Orlando. It's got, some of them there, amusement parks and stuff like that. No, it's not that great.
Whoa. Pump the brakes there. Some of them, it's got WDW.
WDW?
WDW.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's the happiest place on earth.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, that's literally their slogan.
I know that's what theirs is. I don't know if I'd go that far.
Have you been there?
Oh God, did we didn't stop by there. I am blanking. There,
It's like their own country. at
I
Walt Disney
am
World.
blanking. There is a park we went to that's one of the good ones near
Universal.
Orlando. Yes, it was Universal. Our last day when we were, I don't know why I blanked. I do know
That's
why.
one of the most
I
famous,
blanked.
like video park. Or not video
I
park.
could not tell you why I blanked, but no. One of our last days where our flight went out when Key softball's down for a tournament. We were just like, hey, we got some hours to kill. We're stopped by Universal. Go run wild for a couple hours. It was a good time. I've also gotten to go to the ESPN Wild World Sports Complex.
Yeah.
A terrible place to broadcast a softball game from. That terribly designed press box. The windows don't open. And there's no way to go get feed outside. So, like, you're in an echo chamber. It sucked.
Not great.
It was awful.
Not great. Not great.
I spent a lot of time in the state of Florida due to KU softball. I've spent way too much time in the state of Florida.
Been to Jacksonville. Never been. I don't know.
Yeah, you're not missing much. Usually North Florida is fun only because their mascots the osprey. And that they're like all over campus, like the physical, actual living bird. They just live on campus. Swoop down, do some cool stuff.
Swoop down. Do some cool stuff, says Fulton. All right.
Outside of that, there's no reason to go to Jacksonville, Florida. There's not.
All right. What's the key to the game Sunday? Saturday. James Palmer on the Chiefs. Willie Gay. It's very, very simple.
And I was just talking to middle linebacker Willie Gay Jr. in the locker room a few minutes ago, and he said to me, we need to stop number one and put this game on Trevor Lawrence's shoulders. If that doesn't show you the way this defense is focused on Travis Etienne, I don't know what does. They know he is so capable of running the football and catching the football and being that weapon specifically outside of the tackles. Gay told me, you look at his build, you look at the space that's out there, he wants to go to the outside, and that's where he has to make plays in space. And as safety Justin Reid told me as well today, that's where the corners and the safeties are going to have to be able to tackle out in space. Now, middle linebacker Nick Bolton, second in the NFL in tackles this season. Andy Reid believes he might be the best tackler in all of football. It's going to fall on him as well outside of the tackle box. And his position coach, Brendan Daly, he spent time in New England. He was with Dante Hightower. He was with Gerard Mayo there. He said he's very similar to those two players, Andrew, in terms of his football IQ and understanding all of what the Jaguars are going to try to do out in space to help this defense, but also he might be the best tackler he's ever coached. That's a pretty good company Brendan Daly's coached in New England and here in Kansas City. Nick Bolton and company need to make sure they wrap up Travis Etienne in space.
What's more of a statement? Do you have to stop Travis Etienne or Nick Bolton, according to Brendan Daly, is one of the best tacklers he's ever been around?
That's a bigger statement. High praise.
He had 180 tackles.
Franchise record. Also, the Jaguars injury report is out.
It just came out.
I saw it on the timeline 2 minutes ago. So it is out.
Everyone listed as questionable.
Yep. Kendrick Pryor, questionable. Trevor Lawrence with the toe, questionable.
Whoa, is he going to play?
Yes, he'll play. But interesting.
Well, he's listed as questionable.
He'll play. But will he be at 100%? Interesting. Jamal Agnew is a returner. That's kind of Ross Mastick, they're a long snapper. Long snappers kind of don't matter. Brandon Sheriff being questionable with an abdomen injury. Important for the offensive line. Same thing with Luke Fortner.
That's hilarious. They list Trevor Lawrence as questionable. Hilarious.
They kind of, the questionable designation's the hilarious part.
Yes.
Like, he's playing, guys. There's no way the Jags are going to be like, biggest game of the year. I don't know, Trevor. That toe's a little questionable. Let's roll with whatever the Jags have backing up Trevor Lawrence.
Do you know who it is?
I don't.
He has started a few games in the NFL for an NFC West team.
Okay.
That is in the playoffs.
Is this CJ Beathard?
It is CJ.
It's CJ Beathard.
It's CJ Beathard.
The legend.
CJ Beathard. Yeah.
The Iowa legend. Oh, good old CJ Beathard.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when the Niners had to start him at quarterback for a few games. That was a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, CJ Beathard. Yeah, Doug Peterson's not going, I don't know, biggest game of the year. I don't want to risk it, Trevor. Let's get CJ Beathard out there. No, Trevor's going to play.
That's questionable. I do agree with him. I think if you slow down Etienne, make them one-dimensional, they're not going to be able to throw it with Ingram and Jones and Christian Kirk. I just don't see that happening. Slow down and contain Travis Etienne. You will effectively slow down that offense to the point where I don't think they can score 21 points. Because that's what they did last game. He had 0 impact in the game, and you held him to 17 points, despite the Jaguars having 3 more possessions than the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Onside kick, steal a possession.
Then they punted in opposing territory. Just going against everything that kick stood for.
The reason why
everything that onside kick stood for, they went against it immediately.
At first, I go, okay, it's 4th and 9. But here's the thing. That was the free possession.
Yes.
So why not?
Yes.
Just go for it,
yes.
Man. Like, oh, you don't get it. The Chiefs get the ball at the 35-yard line.
Like they were going to after you burned 3 minutes.
Yeah, like you might as well have gone for it. It was a free possession.
Yep.
You were not supposed. You got the football to start the game and at halftime. That shouldn't happen.
Nope. That punt went against everything the onside kick stood for. Everything.
Yeah, that was like 4th and 9.
I have never had bigger whiplash.
It was 4th and 9. You're like, okay, yeah, they probably should punt. 4th and 9. But then you take a step back and you go, you shouldn't have had the ball then. Yeah. So
no, the moment they onsided, I was like, if they punt this football, they are failures.
Well, I get if you punt it if you went 3 and out.
Well, yeah, that's more understandable.
You got to the 39-yard line.
Yeah, no. As soon as they crossed midfield, it should have been 4-down territory.
Was it 4th and 9 or 4th and 4?
It wasn't close.
It wasn't that close, you think?
I think it was closer to 4th and 9, I think.
It had to have been 4th and 9. There's no way they would have punted on 4th and 4.
You never know.
According to this, the very first play of the game was 4th and 9. That was right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Still, shouldn't have punted.
Coming up next, we're going to wrap things up with the mic drop. the mic drop on this Thursday. Fulton, what do you got?
I learned today that apparently Jake can't hear the name Cisco without thinking of the thong song. And you know what? That little piece of trivia is going to get me through anytime I need a good chuckle and a good laugh. Because you know what? It was not a great song. Wasn't probably even really a good song. But it is a very, very funny song. And so now it's just been kind of sitting in my head and playing in my head like the past hour. And I've been in a pretty good mood that entire time. So, Jake, thank you for indulging us with that little piece of trivia today.
She likes to dance all the hip hop spots. And she cruise to connect the dots. Not just urban. She likes the pop. Because she was living La Vida Loca. She had dumps like a truck.
Truck.
What?
What?
So I learned today that Willie Gay thinks that Travis Etienne is the most important guy to stop. That's interesting. Coming up, we got 580 Sports Talk. We got some high school hoops from the Topeka Invitational Tournament.